We were blessed by Google this week for dropping a big announcement on a Tuesday. Google! Thank you to Sundar for dropping this on a Tuesday. Anyway, we got a big announcement. It's Gemini 3. So previously we were on Gemini 2.5, and it was kind of falling behind a little bit. OpenAI had released GPT-5, which was a little bit of a disappointment. Recently, they had GPT 5.1. We had Cloud Sonnet 4.5. Now Google has released Gemini 3. Google is calling it its most intelligent and factually accurate AI system yet. That's quite important. They call it the strongest model in the world for multimodality and reasoning. Supposed to be much better at nuance. They talked about this a lot. So, like, trying to actually understand what you mean instead of just what you say. That was a big focus for them. Another big thing about Gemini 3 is it's supposed to be much less sycophantic and much more objective. So it's supposed to be a lot more to the point. When it gives you answers, it's not going to be like, you're absolutely right. You're the most beautiful person in the world. Something like that. So it's
what if that's what I want?
You could probably ask it to do that. But by default, it's going to be just a lot more straight to the point, more objective. It's also much better at math and science. And yeah.
These updates just sound like it went from 3rd to 4th grade.
Yeah.
Like each one of these is just like, we're going through elementary school now. Except we're really good at math.
Yeah. I listened to an interview with Demis Hassabis, who is the CEO of Google DeepMind. And a few years ago, he did this interview, and he said, we are 5 to 10 years away from AGI. And then in this interview, he said, we're 5 to 10 years away from AGI. And that was
you want to guess what he'll say in 5 to 10 years?
I was gonna say, pretty sure he said that 3 years ago. So, a big feature of Gemini 3 is that it's supposed to create dynamic interfaces. So, if you ask like, what is the 3-body problem in Google search, and it uses the AI mode, it's supposed to explain it and then also create an interactive animation that you can like play with to actually show you how it works. And that's a really big feature of this model that they're really pushing is kind of the learning capabilities, the ability to be able to move through things that you're trying to learn with this platform. And it didn't work for me. So I tried pretty much every single exact prompt that they had given it in the ads that they put out, and none of them worked. On one of them, I asked for a visualization of the 3-body problem, just like it had asked, or just like they'd put it in the video. And it described what a visualization might look like. And then I said, can you just make the visualization? And it said, I don't have the ability to make interactive visualizations. And I'm definitely on Gemini.
This is just on like the google.com AI mode.
AI mode, yeah.
AI mode, but you have to change the drop down to the one that includes like graphical things.
Yeah.
There's like the default one, which is just like regular problem solving, and then they have a special one that will like whip up UIs and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you get to that?
Me and Dave were trying to figure this out earlier because on my account it's just a drop down, and on his it's nowhere to be found.
On mine it does not show at all.
Maybe it's like rolling.
It's
out
possible
slowly,
that this is rolling out slowly, but yeah, it seems like Google is kind of starting to try to skew Gemini towards being like a tool that you can use to learn, a tool that you can use to build UIs, and as part of that, they released Google Anti-Gravity, and this is a dedicated app that you can download. It's kind of Google's response to Cursor. Cursor was this AI coding app that has blown up in the last year, gotten very, very popular. Most companies are using it as an IDE.
You may remember it from Trivia Extravaganza, where Ellis looked at all of the startups that were founded by YC, and it was like the cursor of blank, the cursor of blank, like those companies. That's what Cursor was from.
Yeah, and Cursor costs $20 a month for the Pro version. Pro Plus is $60 and Ultra is $200. So Google's Anti-Gravity is free, which is pretty cool.
For now.
And it's pretty good. Adam and I both used it last night. I used it to create, so whenever there's a new model that comes out that talks about its vibe coding capabilities, I just have it build my Pina Collocator app, which is like where to find the best pina colada near you. And it honestly did a pretty decent job.
It did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
It looked like a template you would find on a website building thing.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was functional was different, but like at least the front-facing UI of it all was like, okay, I could see this.
Yeah, but I had made Gemini 2.5 build pina collocator, and it looked horrible. So this is definitely a big improvement in the pina colada finding capabilities. If you want to use that as a benchmark.
I was just going to say, this is the benchmark that all AI companies should be using.
Yeah, but the kind of cool thing about Google Anti-Gravity is that it's got different modes depending on how forward with the agents you want to be. So there's a mode where it's mostly you coding, but then you can just like talk to it. There's one where you tell it what you want it to do, but then it creates a checklist and it asks you across every step if you liked that or if you want to modify it. And then there's another mode where it just basically does everything in one shot. Mm-hmm. And so it is an IDE, but based on the interview that I heard with Demis, it's more that it's like a development tool that they built an IDE around as opposed to an IDE with AI features. So it's agent first. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. And I think that a lot of the industry is now going to move over from Cursor, which is kind of bad for Cursor. Famously, Google bought Windsurf, which was like one of the biggest acquisitions ever. And that was also, I believe, like an AI coding environment.
I'm really interested in this in particular because Cursor has been such a game changer for the developers I know.
Yeah.
And they're working in like very big code bases. So like Cursor seems to be able to understand everything, you know?
Yeah.
I obviously haven't, like when we mess around with these things, we're not connecting to some like big corporate database, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how it's going to function in those situations. I would imagine fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We haven't been able to test it. I just like opened up my personal website and had to do a couple things just to see if it would get the context of it. So like to your point earlier where you were saying that they were trying to make it more nuanced. One of the things I did was in my personal website, I basically just have a list of the places that I've worked, right?
Yeah.
So like it's my resume. So I have Waveform as one of them, like Waveform Podcast. And I told it in the IDE, I didn't do this in Google Gemini or anything like that. I was just like, put a floating emoji of a microphone next to Waveform Podcast, which coding a floating emoji that will like animate a little bit, not super difficult, but the context of like understanding the word Waveform Podcast, finding where it is on the page, putting this right next to that in particular, I was wondering if that would work, if that would like trip it up at all. And it did it like perfectly fine, which was like pretty interesting.
So how did you do that? Did you give it a screenshot of your website or did you put the code?
I opened up my project because I have my React code my website is built in React and I don't even know. Some whatever. It's built in React. So I have that folder on my computer in my computer. So I just opened it up on an IDE. It looked through everything and was able to like figure it out.
Yeah.
One thing that I did find interesting though was this morning I've been like having on my to-do list and my website forever that I want to add a second page, right?
You have a second page.
For what?
Games.
I know. So that I did that this morning.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to add a second page because I didn't have a second page at first. It was just a static website because that's the easiest thing to host in AWS, like whatever. So I told it to use React Router to make a second page, that's just how you like navigate pages in React, whatever. And it completely just built out a second page for me, no problem. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. Like I'm glad it did that relatively quickly. And then I was like, okay, now make a snake game in that page. And it made a snake game. So if you go to my website and you look at that snake game, there's a snake game there. And
AdamMolina.com.
What?
AdamMolina.com.
Yes, AdamMolina.com. But I also put Marquez's face as the little thing that you have to eat if you play the snake game. Well, but if anyone wants to see, please just go to the video, not my website, because I pay per click for people that go there.
No.
Also, unless I'm using the wrong keys. It's ASD.
Yeah,
and it does kind of break. If you go left and then right, it immediately kills you.
I thought that's what just Snake did.
Oh, maybe it does.
Because you're on top of yourself. Nothing's popping up though.
Okay.
I'm just spinning around. I got a score and I don't even know how I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing that I found very funny about Google Anti-Gravity is you have to obviously give it a lot of permissions because it has to be able to control parts of your computer. Everything. But when you install it and then it brings up the website where it's like, thanks for installing Google Anti-Gravity. You've successfully authenticated. It has a docs link and then it has a Twitter link and it says Twitter. It doesn't call it X, which I find
as it should
quite funny. Anyway, something about Gemini 3 that I was thinking about that feels a bit concerning is like, this is very cool that you can do these generative UIs, right? Like you're supposed to be able to do these generated interactive tools that helps you understand math and science. You can ask it about mortgages and it creates like charts that kind of like show you what things would cost and all this stuff. But this is all happening on Google.com, right? Like a number of years ago, Google got in a lot of trouble with the European Union for scraping websites and putting the little text answers on the side of Google.com. Mm-hmm. And they got in trouble because they weren't guiding people to the websites. And we've talked about this before. If people are not getting guided to the websites, those website owners are not making money. If those website owners do not make money, then Google does not have information to scrape from. So if you keep people on Google.com and you ask any question and it just creates an interactive thing for you on Google.com, it kind of feels like Google is trying to make Gemini and Google.com effectively the same thing, where you can just do everything in one little window. And I see where the value in that is, obviously, but then no websites are going to get any traffic. So I don't know, the far-reaching elements of this, if this is like very successful, make it feel like SEO is just officially cooked.
Well, it's new SEO now. Now your SEO has to get picked up by...
Yeah, but then you're not getting paid.
But then you get nothing.
You get nothing, so what's even the benefit? Yeah. I don't know. I foresee a future in which there is a much tighter integration of content creator / like writer relationships with their audience. And that's going to be the way people make money. It's not going to be the banner ad version of the internet that we have had for a very long time and has been dying a pretty quick death. But either way, it is pretty weird. There have been pretty interesting demos that people have been putting all over the internet. Someone asked for a interactive 3D Lego builder, and it made it for them instantaneously, which is pretty cool. I can't get any of this stuff to work, and it's very frustrating.
I think you're using the wrong mode.
I don't know, man. I've been trying.
You need that drop down.
I've been trying. Either way, people are pretty excited about it, which is a big shift from how people were feeling about GPT-5, which was a pretty big letdown to a lot of people. So it's the races are heating up forever and always, and now we're here.
Adam made a pretty sick game this morning. Or you used the example that...
Oh, yeah. So when David and I were trying to test this out, we were trying to figure out why it was showing up on my account, not on his.
Yeah.
One of the prompts was that someone on X had posted, like, make me a dino game that has me jumping over the latest news stories from today. And then it's basically like, you know, when Chrome has no internet and you can just play the dino game that jumps over things and gets a high score. It's that, but every obstacle that comes your way is just a news story. But the first news story, because it did it for me, like it spun it up. I had a little game to play. The first news story was such a long headline that there was no way to win. It was just like you would jump and it would just
jump high enough.
You would fall immediately into the first block and just like crash out.
Yeah, it was very funny. So I don't know, mess around with it, see what dumb games you can make. And
whoa, that's so weird. I just woke up from a dream where I was sitting in Marquez's chair in the podcast. If you don't like and subscribe, I'll never get back to the producer's table.
Do it.
What?
What? He'll never be back here anyway.
No, please like and subscribe. I yearn for the soundboard, and yet I am trapped here in Marquez's chair. All right. Like and subscribe.
15% of my diet is chewing.